Hey, this is Jeff with Georgia Fire Rescue Supply. We want to spend just a few minutes with you to talk about the LifeLiner hoods. The particular model we want to talk about is a KL23 made out of a protective fabric called Kermel. These are some very high quality hoods. The fit and the finish is very extreme in quality, above and beyond what we see in a lot of competitors' hoods. And we'll take a look up close what that looks like here in just a few moments. But first off, let's talk about fabric choices. You got a lot of fabric choices out there. Probably in Georgia, we see most of our customers using a fabric similar to this, made of P84. This particular hood meets the minimum of NFPA, what it requires. The thermal protective performance, which often is called TPP, NFPA says we got to have at least a 20 on these hoods. This hood, our Kermel hood from LifeLiners, has a TPP of 40, so we're double of what NFPA requires as being the minimum. And at 40, we're more in line with the thermal protective rating of the rest of our ensemble of gear, such as our turnout coats and pants and other things that we're wearing. If we had just a 20 rated hood, we'd be well below the rest of everything else, which has to have a rating of at least 35. Now, what we end up doing is, this is a meta-aramid fiber. Kermel is coming from the same type of family where we get the fiber Nomex from. But there's some differences in the molecule itself, of the shape of the molecule, which allows it to have more airspace in it, which gives better insulation features for us. This is very, very popular with our customers here in Georgia because they get a high rating of thermal protection, and they get a great price at that hood. This is a $35 hood currently. You can pick them up here at our store, or you can order them online at georgiafirerescue.com or georgiafirerescue.net. Let's look at some of the features. One, let's take a look here how this is fitting. Today, we have firefighters have the NFPA compliant masks have got a larger profile than they used to have. And that poses a problem when we're doing shortcuts, making a hood as cheap as we can. LifeLiners doesn't take that approach. These will stretch out and fit over these larger face pieces very easily today. If you notice how this fits the head very well, and it's form-fitting, it's got a larger footprint for a head, where a lot of them are very, very tight on the head, and it causes to have coverage problems when we get down into this area. If you see how this has got a shoulder notch in it, and it's draped down here on the tabletop, and it covers really, really well. And let's do this. Let's compare it to this P84 hood that's got some cheaper construction features, and see how that fits on here. Let's compare that. Let's change these out. Okay, we're back. We got a competitor's hood here on a mannequin head now, and it is very, very tight, and was very difficult to get it to come up and seal around this larger NFPA compliant face piece. And you'll also notice, in order to do so, this seam is all the way up on the back of the neck instead of down at the shoulders. You can see how this has had to come up very, very far, where the neck is actually right here. So we just barely are covering the neck on this. And if we go to working and pulling a lot of sealing and manipulating the body, the chance of having gaping and unprotected areas to appear is very high. So cutting corners is what it's about, in making profit for some of our competitors, and using less material and other less than perfect sewing practices cuts that down to where we have maybe a less desirable hood, although it is a lower cost hood. But again, we're looking at something that gives good protection at a good price, and this is a $35 hood with a thermal rating of 40 on our Kermel hood from LifeLiners. Let's take this hood off and lay them side by side and look at the differences. Okay, now what we've got is the hoods are off of the mannequin, and we've got them laying on top of each other. You see some definite differences in how much more material it is in the pattern that it's cut from. You see how this head is much more narrower and in doing so that creates its own set of issues. The opening for the face is also smaller. The coverage of the head is smaller. So in doing so, the fit, it just isn't what we're looking for in that. Now let's look at some things inside that makes a difference. The seams, as you see how the seams are put together, those can become pressure points, particularly if we've got it running across the head and it pushes down and creates a pressure point and becomes uncomfortable to the wearer. You won't see that in the seams in the LifeLiner. These are flat lock stitching, and there's no pressure points even on the crown of the head, and the comfort is not even comparable in this cheaper model versus what it feels like wearing the LifeLiner Kermel hood. So there's a lot of difference there, and it even gets down to the details of the tag. Often we see this tag as a firefighter seen as a nuisance and something that may become uncomfortable, and they'll rip it off because it's really easy to do so. These tags are permanently attached, sewn on all four sides and down the middle, and it's very important if you do ever have a on-the-job injury or a line-of-duty death. It has a lot to do with the investigation and the coverage of benefits in that area. So it's the attention to detail that's there that puts a lot of value in this product. What it comes down to, we just can't even begin to compare our lower cost hoods from our competitor with a low thermal rating versus for $35 what we can do in this Kermel hood and protect the firefighter with a thermal rating of a 40, which kind of is double of this and lines up more with matching the thermal protection of the rest of the turnout gear ensemble. And this is an economical project for lots of fire departments out there. It's not so expensive that it's out of reach of a lot of our customers. If you have more questions about this, feel free to give us a call. Our number is here on the screen. You can also pick these up at our store or order them on our website, which is also on the screen. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll talk to you later.